Hello, this is Matthew Robert Payne. This is the parable of the King's War's plans. I'm the writer of 55 Christian books that I spent $120,000 to publish, that the Lord supplied. I've got 850 articles on eZine Articles, EZINE articles.com under the name Matthew Robert Payne. And I've got over 2,500 YouTube videos. I'm a teacher and I'm an ordained prophet, and I enjoy teaching. This parable will be one of 54 parables that will be on a playlist on my homepage on YouTube. You can search under playlist and you can enjoy the rest of the parables. I hope that you learn something from this, that you'll be able to like and comment and share this with other people if you find it edifying and enjoyable. God bless you. I'm going to share the screen now, and we're going to look at the text, and I'm going to become a little person. Hi, so I'm just up here in the corner. So this is Luke 14:31 to 33. Or what king going to make war against another king does not sit down first and consider whether he is able with 10,000 to meet him who comes with him with 20,000? Or else, while the other is still a great way off, he sends a delegation and asks conditions of peace. So likewise, whoever of you does not forsake all he has cannot be my disciple. Now, I've got a sobering message for you. Most people don't live this sort of life. Most people who read this parable wouldn't even understand this parable. They don't even know what's going on. They can't even read this parable and understand. And isn't it a good thing that God has chosen such an anointed teacher like me to break it open for you? And this is the reason you're watching this video, to find out what's going on. So Jesus started a teaching back in Luke, obviously, or maybe some other gospels got it. He said, if anyone wants to become my disciple, he must hate his mother, father, sister, brother, land, and possessions for my sake, or he's not worthy to be my disciple. Then he says, and what person would go and build a house without first considering the cost of how much the house, or estimating the cost of how much the house is going to cost before he starts? Because what if he's halfway through and he runs out of money? The whole of the town will be laughing at him. Then he came on to this one and said, and what king is going to make war against another king does not sit down first and consider whether he is able with 10,000 to meet him who comes against him with 20,000? Or else, while the other is still a great way off, he sends a delegation and asks conditions of peace. So likewise, whoever of you does not forsake all that he has cannot be my disciple. So let me throw a couple of things at you. If that king was under the nation of Israel and had a prophet, and remember they didn't have a prophet for 400 years before Jesus and John the Baptist, but if they had a prophet in the land and there was an army coming against them, they'd consult the prophet. The prophet would say whether to go into battle or not, and the prophet would give them the strategy on how to win the war. And you can read the Old Testament and see that's exactly what the prophets did. Or there was that army, I remember a guy from a lower tribe, I forget who he was, and Jesus whittled his army down from about 10,000. God whittled it down from about 10,000 to about 200 men. I think the story, he had them drink water in the last test, and the ones that bent over and scooped it with the hand is the ones he picked, or the ones that laid down and drank it like a dog, the ones he picked. I'm not sure which ones it is. I'm not really even going to look up the Bible and find the text for you. But Jesus wanted to do a mighty, God wanted to do a mighty sign and wonder with that guy. But Jesus is saying here, without the advice from a prophet, well, the king would consult the prophet and see what he said. And the prophet said, no, you can't win this war, you've got to make peace. Now, if you're going to go out and ask conditions of peace, the invading king might say, give us a third of your land, give us 500 virgins and 5,000 head of cattle, and I won't attack you. Now, if he doesn't make that peace thing, the other king will come and slaughter their army and take possession of the whole country. So if you're facing an army of 20,000 and you can't win, and you work out you can't win, you've got to go and settle peace or you'll lose everything. Isn't making a little bit more sense? Jesus is saying the Christian life is going to cost you everything. Jesus is saying, it's 444 now. Jesus is saying the Christian life is going to cost everything. But this is not what is taught in churches today. People don't teach this in church today. We're taught by mega churches and modern churches that all you have to do is say a one paragraph sinner's prayer. Then it's the healthy, wealthy, wise gospel that's getting preached in many churches today. And like I said in another parable, Jesus is just like an accessory. He's just like a handbag or some jewelry that you put on a Sunday to look good. And when you come home, you get Jesus' handbag and you put him in the cupboard, or you put him on your mantelpiece, and you may pick him up Wednesday night and take him out for another ride to Bible study or cell group. But essentially, Jesus is just, not a central part of people's lives, but just a part of their lives. But it's like conditional, whether they pray or whether they do anything. And because, it's taught that faith is, salvation is by faith, not by works, lest no man should boast. They use that verse. So they say that you don't have to do any works to earn your salvation. You don't have to do everything. It's called the finished works gospel in Hypergrace. And but you've never been faced with losing everything and having to make peace with a warring king. What if someone was going to take two of your daughters? And that's the only way through. Would you give up your daughters' lives? If you had 4 daughters, would you give up 2 of your daughters for Jesus? Like, would you allow 2 of your daughters to become missionaries? If Jesus told you to, would you stop them being rich in the West and let them go to a poor country and live by faith? Jesus said, the condition of you being saved is you've got to give me 2 of your daughters to serve me full time. People can live the Christian faith these days and not do anything. Well, you'll be surprised that there's a lot of verses in the Bible and 10 parables that we're going to cover that say that certain conditions have to be met to be saved. Being saved isn't a once-off event. You've got to earn your salvation with fear and trembling. So likewise, whoever of you does not forsake all he has cannot be my disciple. You don't become a disciple by saying a sinner's prayer. You become a disciple through discipline and following the teachings and walking in the teachings of Jesus. You don't become a successful student at university by signing up for the course, which is a sinner's prayer. You become a successful student at university after 4 years of study, going to lectures, handing in assignments, and doing exams. And so you cannot be a disciple of Jesus unless you practice the faith that Jesus taught. And in order to do that, you've got to forsake all. And I hope I wasn't too tough on you. Was I too tough on you guys? I'm someone who's forsaken all. You know, what sort of person would spend $120,000 on publishing books that he sells for 99 cents, the cheapest price on Amazon? If Amazon allowed me to give my books away for free 30 days a month or every month, all the time, I'd do that. But I can only give my books away 5 days every 90 days, and I do that. So, what sort of person would do that? Well, a person who wants the kingdom to be preached. This is the third time I've done a parables book. I did an original parables book, then I spent $6,500 updating the parables book, and I'm doing this update because my last book was full of hypergrace doctrine that I was involved in. There's a lot of false teaching in the last book, and so I've got to update it again. So, what sort of crazy fool would do that? Well, someone who's forsaken all for Jesus. And so I don't preach something I don't live. God bless you. If you want to like this post, like it. If you don't want to like it, don't like it. If you want to comment, I'd love to read your comment. If you want to share it, that would be good. If you want to join the channel, join the channel. If you want to never watch a video of mine again, make that choice too. If you want to abuse me, go ahead. God bless.